What is going on, everyone? Anthony here, and welcome back to another video here on Let's Talk Resident Evil. And Capcom might have just broken the internet in the Resident Evil space just from a simple social media post from Capcom Dev 1 on Twitter. Now, this is something where, we've been waiting for Resident Evil 9 information, little bits, little hints, and I think the fans have been, waiting for so long that they're just jumping at a glimpse of something. And this is actually so hilarious that I just had to do a video on it because, whether it's intentional or not, and it probably is, knowing Capcom, I just think it's funny seeing all the reactions online and people like, oh my God, this is what it confirmed, this little trailer, this celebration of 10 million people playing Resident Evil 4 or 10 million copies sold. So let's take a look at the video that they put up and see what all of the fuss is about, shall we? So let's get right into it.
Control, do you copy?
I'm listening. Go on.
Finally. Task complete.
Very well. Then I suggest you hurry.
Copy.
Good old Wesker.
Don't worry, Leon. First time's free.
Rings the bell like normal, okay. So it seems like normal, right? Normal at first. And now you start to see the differences in this. Party hats are going on. They're partying. 10 million copies sold. That is no low number by any means. Leon's like, what the hell? What if this is actually how it went down? Wouldn't that be killer? Celebrating 10 million players. So Dr. Salvador's playing that chainsaw. Leon's like, yes! And there it is. Okay, so it just fades out and it says RE4, right? But this right here is, now you might be looking at this like, okay, what the hell? It says Gloria lost players. Thank you for playing. Gracias. Okay, right? But if you flip this around, it's the Roman numerals for 9. So everybody is like, oh my God, this means Resident Evil 9's coming. Now, is it a little on purpose? Yeah, it seems like they kind of knew what they were doing because you didn't necessarily have to make it exactly like the Roman numerals. It could have just been on, another, like X of a bit of wood that is on there. But no, instead, it's specifically just kind of flipped on a sign on a post in the middle of the village. And whether this was done intentionally or not, or on purpose or whatever, it could just be just a happy accident, right? But Capcom has done stuff like this before. They've had little hints and Easter eggs like this before in other trailers. So, who knows? This is like one of those things where it's like you're just fishing for information. Someone might be even watch this be like, Anthony, why even do a video on this? This is completely pointless. Well, I just think it's kind of funny because it's like it could be on purpose. That's the problem with, the mystery of things, right? You don't know, what are they doing? Are they messing with the fans? Are they just thanking people and that's it? And there's no, connection to 9. We all know 9 is being made. But I just think it's funny because when you're in a situation like this, you haven't heard anything of new Resident Evil rumblings as far as the games in quite some time. Now, a lot of people are wondering, is it going to be in June when Sony does their showcase, right? Is it going to be during the summer? Is it going to be at Tokyo Game Show? There's a lot of things that are lining up this year that could potentially be when we see a reveal of Resident Evil 9, or not even Resident Evil 9, but another remake, because that is also something that can indeed come before your mainline Resident Evil game. We just know that Capcom has been, putting out, a lot of consistent work lately, which is great, and they always have, an idea of what they're going to do and how they're going to do it. They always have multiple development teams. They always have multiple projects being worked on at once, so you never know what you're going to get with the next, Resident Evil reveal. But I just thought that this was hilarious because it literally broke Twitter. Everybody's talking about it online. People are making videos about it. So I was like, okay, let me see what this video is. And, shout out to Golden Freak. Shout out to a couple other people in my community that sent this over and let me know about it and just be like, is this on purpose? And I'm just thinking, I would not put it past Capcom to do something like this. But rest assured, there isn't any actual official news, but this kind of seems like, a little bit of a hint at what we may be seeing sometime this year. I don't think it's going to be released this year, but I think that whatever this Resident Evil next project is that they want to reveal to the world will probably come out in the next couple of years. Probably will come out next year. It could come out 2027. Who knows, right? So let's just keep our options open. Don't get too disappointed. We still have a whole summer of events and festivities that can be announced, that can happen. Even if there isn't anything at a Sony event, Capcom can easily just say, hey, we're having a Capcom event. Everybody be there. And Resident Evil can be there. And they can show off other Capcom games that are coming out, like Onimusha and other projects like Pragmata. We don't know what's going on with that. So there is a lot of stuff that they are bringing back, new IPs as well. Like I said, that one new IP, Pragmata, got delayed and we haven't really seen anything of it. So they're still working on your main lines, your remakes, bringing back old IPs, but also trying to do new stuff as well. Path of the Goddess was also a new IP that they tried, and I know it didn't, maybe meet a lot of sale expectations, but it was still a good game from what people were saying. I haven't played it personally, but people seem to put it over. So, they're always hard at work. They're always doing something that is, definitely going to give us quality, over quantity, right? And that's definitely a good mindset to have. It's just one of those things where game development takes a lot more nowadays, and Capcom usually has a pretty good hand on what is going to be successful and what they should focus on next. So they've been one of the most consistent developers in, I would say, maybe the last 7 to 8 years, in my opinion. So, I think they have been really doing a good job at getting back from where they were pre-RE7 to now. And so I think the work speaks for itself. So I'm staying positive, even if this, means Resident Evil 9 is around the corner. I'm all for it. I want to see what it is. I want to see what the characters are. I want to see the setting, the plot. I want to just get an idea of what we are getting ourselves into. Because at this point in time, everything you've heard online has no weight at all. I don't care who it's from. I don't care who makes the video, who makes the post, who makes the forms, who does whatever. We have not got an official bit of information. So consider everything you heard about Resident Evil 9 not true at all. And the reason why I say that is because we don't have any proof. There hasn't been anything. We just know it's the same director from Resident Evil 7, and that's all we know officially from Capcom. And it's important to remember that, because at the end of the day, if you have all these false expectations because of leaks and rumors, it's just going to break your heart when you realize all of it was false, or maybe some of it was true, but some of it wasn't, or 90% of it was completely different. So that's why I try to always approach it with an open mindset of leaks and rumors are just leaks and rumors. That's what they are. Obviously, we like to read them and we like to speculate and discuss it amongst the community. That's what a community is there to do, to kind of discuss and kind of wonder okay, what does this mean if this holds any weight, right? But if it doesn't hold any weight, you don't have to lose sleep over it. You won't be disappointed. when it actually gets announced and we officially see who the main characters are, what the setting is, what we're going to be up against. We don't know. So I think that gives me a little bit of hope, because some of the stuff that I've been hearing and reading up until this point, which hasn't been official, hasn't really been that exciting. You know, like there's some things that seem like would be a good idea, and then some things that I don't think would be a good idea at all. So that's kind of where I'm at with that. But yeah, this is just a little tease that Capcom put out, whether it was a tease or not, or just a celebration announcement, and it holds no weight whatsoever. But I think it's a little strange that they would pan out just to this and put the thank you on it, just like this, with something that makes up the Roman numeral 9. It's a little interesting, Capcom. A little interesting. But let me know what you think down below. Do you think this is just a bunch of BS? Or do you think this is something where we know it's coming and they're just kind of like, you know, having fun with the fans, which Capcom does like to do sometimes. So, yeah. So hit that like button, subscribe. We'll keep you updated with all the latest Resident Evil news and content here on Let's Talk Resident Evil. And we'll catch all of you in the next one. Take care.